Hey guys, it's Pinot Noir Ice Cream Bar. Today I'm going to show you how to make this chair for a 1/3 size doll, or about 60 centimeters. I want to say before I get started that I definitely learned a lot in this process, and I ended up using more supplies than this. There's definitely things I would do differently next time I do this project, but I am using these two mini binders, fabric, batting, fabric, these mini notebooks, super glue, and these Nate Berkus paperclip pin things. I also ended up using scrap cardboard, hot glue, and a couple other things. Packing tape. So first I'm going to work on the arms. I'm just going to glue these mini notebooks together and press them so they stay together really nicely. If you have ones you can recycle, that's even better. Most of this stuff I just picked up at Target. While those are drying, I'm just going to start measuring out how high the seat is going to be. So I'm taking these two binders and I'm sticking them together to make a nice firm square shape, and I'm testing out my legs, and I'm using these as legs because they look nice, I don't have to paint them, and they're going to look more or less kind of professional, sort of, at the end. It wasn't quite the right height, so I decided to grab this extra cardboard box that is about the same height as my binders, and now I'm testing it, and I think that's a pretty decent height. I'm not trying to create something where your knees are jutting out, so that looks pretty good to me. I just used a candle because it was about the same size as the pins and it was more sturdy. So now I'm going to take my binders and take them apart. I'm going to measure the angle that I want the back to be at, because obviously you don't want your back to be standing straight up, that would be very uncomfortable, or lean back too far. Now originally I was going to use batting in the inside of this binder to make it square, but I decided to go ahead and use scraps of cardboard because I wasn't sure how much batting I would need to cover the chair in the end. Turns out I could have definitely used a lot of batting to make this kind of have a squishy kind of feel, but I think the cardboard worked just fine. So I'm just using super glue and holding it down to let the super glue dry. I decided to use super glue and binders for this project because I thought it would be a little more sturdy than just using cardboard. Cardboard, I find when I've made furniture out of it, will fall apart, it doesn't travel well. You can't do a lot with cardboard, so I wanted to make something that felt more sturdy and could support a lot better. Now for this part, I'm just putting the legs in the box. This box had slits on the side, but if your box doesn't have that, or if you're using something else, you can just cut holes or attach on the bottom of something with your legs. I'm gonna call this part that I'm working on now the ottoman. I keep thinking of it in that way. I know that's kind of confusing, but there we go. I'm gluing the legs in and that should be fine. And now I've used packing tape to kind of attach everything as well as super glue. So the super glue is drying under the packing tape, and hopefully that will make a very nice strong bond as well as hold everything together. So you can see it's supporting my hammer, and all of that is nice and good, and the shape is what I want it to be. So now I'm going to start adding the batting. There wasn't a huge technological, scientific way that I did this. I kind of just measured how much I thought I needed and started gluing stuff on. I used one long piece of batting for the, as you can see, kind of wrapped it around the whole chair. And then on the sides, I kind of just cut it and then tried to wrap the batting around it, sort of like a present. And the batting, I'm just using one layer because I didn't want a super overstuffed looking chair. I just wanted enough batting to make it look like it was furniture, as opposed to having these very harsh, hard lines that the office supplies would have given me. Now for the arms, I'm basically just taking a square of batting and gluing it in place. I cut off the excess, and then I started taking a needle and thread, actually, and sewing along the edges of the arm and attaching the rest of the batting to the rest of the chair with a needle and thread, because that made the batting lie a little bit flatter. And I was also getting really tired of using super glue. Super glue, you have to use it in a well-ventilated area, and it's really annoying when it gets on your hands. So if you are using super glue, just be careful with it. Make sure you're not, eating it or getting it in your eyeballs, in your nose. That would be not fun. So I moved on to sewing at this point. And then you can see here that I've sewn up a lot of the batting, and I'm gonna do the exact same thing on the bottom, on the ottoman part, which is actually just the bottom of the chair. I'm going to cut the right shape and kind of just fold it over like a present and sew everything together so it's nice and plush enough, but not so plush that it becomes overstuffed. And you definitely want to be careful if you build your chair like this, with an ottoman bottom part, you want to be careful that you're not overstuffing that because the chair has to actually sit on top of it, so the top of it has to lay pretty flat. And that's pretty much going to cover everything that I do in this video. In the next video I'm going to go over doing the fabric bits, but you can see the chair coming together, you can see what the legs look like, and thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you in part 2. Thanks guys! Bye!